In this presentation, we'll be exploring what it means to be a sustainability consultant. This will start by working out a definition of the role to give us an overview, and then move on to focusing on the skills that are required to be one, covering both the soft skills and project management skills. The specific technical and environmental knowledge that makes sustainability consultants specialists in their field will also be looked at, as well as the sort of tasks that could be expected to be completed as a sustainability consultant. So firstly, by breaking down the role into separate parts and defining the job title, it should help to provide an initial overview of the sort of roles and responsibilities that a sustainability consultant may have. Sustainability can have many meanings and definitions. However, here we'll be talking about it in the form of the meeting of current needs without harming future generations, and it's based on three fundamental pillars, which are environmental, economical, and social. A consultant can be defined as a person who provides advice and expertise to organisations in a professional manner. If we were to then join these together, it describes a professional person who provides advice and expertise on the issues that result from the combination of the environment, economics, and society. Such issues may range from water and air pollution, waste management, to carbon emissions, the environmental impacts of business processes, agricultural processes, and urban and rural planning, to name but a few. It is therefore important that with the changing climate, both literally and figuratively, that businesses and organisations implement sustainable business plans and do all they can to fully mitigate any negative impacts on the environment, but rather look to create a more rounded business which does good for society. Corporate social responsibility started the shift towards this, and with greater attention being put on business practices, it will only become more important in the future. It's no longer really a choice to conduct CSR responsible practices, but rather a requirement for future success. It will therefore likely fall on skilled sustainability consultants to work in collaboration with businesses to implement such sustainable plans. So what exactly is required to be a sustainability consultant? In these next few slides, we'll discuss the skills and knowledge required to perform such a role. For a sustainability consultant to be successful and be able to complete such a wide range of projects as mentioned before, they require a variety of skills known as soft skills. These are described as the personal attributes that enable someone to interact positively and harmoniously with other people, making them fit well into a team and operate effectively. These personable and working skills are relevant to all professionals and are transferable across many industries and jobs. Soft skills are often centred around the ability to communicate and listen effectively, operating proficiently in a team while still being confident when leading tasks. Behavioural skills such as being adaptable, flexible, diplomatic and a problem solver are incredibly relevant to consultancy roles where you're primarily working for a client to solve tasks. As highlighted earlier with the definitions, a sustainability consultant's role is based on providing professional expertise and advice to other organisations in order to complete specialist projects and tasks. Therefore, a sustainability consultant must have proficient project management skills to be able to complete tasks and solve problems effectively. Project management is different from the day-to-day managing of an organisation because a project has a defined start and end point rather than it being a continuous process. When starting a project brief will be worked out between the client and the consultant. This will enable the scope of the project to be outlined, including expected time of completion, the specific requirements of the client, such as budgets, and how the success of the project will be measured. Plan implementation then involves initiating the agreed upon project, tracking and reviewing the tasks and taking actions where necessary. For each task in the plan you should have when the task is to start, what resources are required, who is responsible for the implementation and how long it should take. Tracking the tasks once they've been implemented is very important for the success of the overall project. This is helped by outlining key milestones in the project brief. Regular update reports from the consultant to the client will help to track the progress of individual tasks. Project management tools, for example Excel, Microsoft Project, Basecamp and Trello, can also be used to effectively track progress. Tracking can occur at the macro level, where a bigger picture focus concerns itself with the business objectives, time, budget and quality, but also at the smaller micro level, focusing on the progress of individual tasks. If tracking the tasks highlight issues, a report should be conducted. The frequency of these reports will vary depending on the severity and how it will impact other tasks. Once the project is completed by the scheduled date, conducting a project review will help evaluate what went well, what didn't, and what can be changed next time round. This is very important for future projects. Now that the skills a sustainability consultant requires have been explained, we'll now go on to explore some examples of the sort of roles a consultant may be involved with, as well as the tasks they may be expected to conduct. Whilst these tasks will vary depending on the specialist knowledge and skills of the individual, some typical examples could include the carrying out of environmental impact assessments to measure the likely impacts of projects, processes or developments on issues such as carbon footprints, energy performance, air quality and noise pollution. Now, these environmental impact assessments are a process of evaluating the likely environmental impact of a proposed project or development. These impact assessments may be very specialised for the industry you're working in, but could be more general. They can also be a one-off or as part of a system of continuous monitoring, which would form a larger environmental monitoring system. They could also be expected to conduct mandatory assessments required by law on, for example, commercial and residential properties. This could be done using the BREEAM assessments, which we discussed later on. They could also provide advice around how clients can meet regulations laid out in environmental law. Consultants would also likely be recommending technologies and explaining the most cost-effective and beneficial routes to sustainability. This can involve the switching to alternative energy sources in order to reduce energy costs. Smarter water usage, reducing waste and lowering carbon emissions could also be included. In terms of the day-to-day working as a consultant, it's likely that you'd be collecting and analysing data in order to produce reports which would demonstrate your project findings. You'd then go on to present this to the client. This may also include preparing bid documents for the clients, as well as following their work to make sure they're in line with current research and legislation. Sustainability consultants may also work with specific certifications and evaluation tools in order to provide the standards for business to follow in terms of sustainability. Here are some typical examples that a consultant may work with. So firstly, the Building Research Establishment Environmental Assessment Method, or BREEAM, is one of the world's foremost assessment methods for environmental performance for buildings, communities and infrastructure projects. BREEAM measures sustainable value in a series of categories, including, for example, energy, land use, materials, pollution, waste and health and well-being. The main output from a certified BREEAM assessment is the rating. This rating reflects the performance achieved by a project and its stakeholders, as measured against the standard and its benchmarks, with ratings ranging from acceptable to pass, good, very good, excellent to outstanding, which is reflected in a series of stars on the BREEAM certificate. Secondly is the ISO 14001. This is a form of environmental management system and is an internationally agreed standard that sets out the requirements for organisations to improve their environmental performance. This includes aspects and impacts which help to identify the legislation applicable to your operations and determines what control measures can be put in. The aspect describes the elements of an organisation's activities, products or services that can interact with the environment, or the potential to cause an impact. The impact itself is any change to the environment, whether adverse or beneficial, wholly or partially resulting from an organisation's activities. The effect the aspect can have on the environment. Thirdly, the WELL standard is a performance-based system for measuring, certifying and monitoring features of the built environment that impact human health and well-being through air, water, nourishment, light, fitness, comfort and mind. Finally, B Corporations or B Corps is a certification for for-profit businesses that shows their business processes are following strict social and environmental standards. The once sole focus of increasing shareholder value has expanded to include social and environmental concerns. This emphasis on ensuring a more ethical business sector led to the emergence of a new organisational identity, the Certified B Corporation, also known as B Corps. Identifying as a B Corp has helped guide businesses to meet the highest standards of verified social and environmental performance, public transparency and legal accountability. Finally, once a consultant has all of these mentioned skills and experiences, they can demonstrate them by joining a professional body or affiliation. Institutions such as the Institute for Environmental Management and Assessment, known as IEMA, offers certification based on your experience and knowledge, from student all the way up to fellow, demonstrating those people that are sector leaders and key innovators. Similarly, the Chartered Institute of Ecology and Environmental Management outlines and promotes the highest standards of practice for the benefit of nature and society. By joining one of these, it demonstrates a level of competence and can set a consultant apart from a growing crowd. Thanks for listening.